Well, it started when I was very young. I think I would say it was my mother. She always encouraged us to read, and we were not a very wealthy family, but there was always money for books. And I remember driving with her to Texan's bookshop in South Extension in Delhi and various other bookshops across Delhi to browse. We spent hours in the bookshop there, and so I would say that my interest in history was came from my mother, and it also came from the rest of my family because our family home in Shillong, where my mother grew up, was surrounded by books and history in the building itself. My father's father, but whenever I'd go to visit him in North Lakhimpur in Assam, we would talk for hours about his days in the freedom movement when he'd go to jail every 2 years. And my uncles and aunts also were very into history. They always had interesting stories about people they had met. These are a combination of various factors that sort of added to my interest in history. That's how it all began. It started with my mother and with the rest of my family adding on to it in a major way. As far as maps is concerned, as you can see, there are many maps here. I got inspired by a very close friend of mine called Ratnesh Mathur. He's like an elder brother to me. He's always been, guiding me, taking care of my interests and inspiring me to look at new things. I had bought one or two maps together with him. Then I started looking at more maps of India and then Singapore, where I moved after that. So that's how the interest on maps started. I'm from India, so India is one area of interest, and I have lived in Singapore almost half my life. So my main area of interest is India and Singapore and the history of the two countries. In terms of first editions, maybe about 500. And in terms of art books, which are sort of like coffee table books, maybe about another 500. Books that one gets in bookshops today, maybe about 5,000. And there's another category of books, which is what is called modern first, which are basically the first editions of books published, about 50, 60 years ago. I would say I have another 300-400 of those. So that's roughly how I would categorize all the books. I don't do a good enough job of that. Cataloging is a big gap that I have. I am aware of what is where, and somehow in this big mess in the house, I'm able to find a book when I want it. But yes, that is a big gap in terms of listing down, especially the more valuable ones, which are either valuable from a money point of view or valuable from an emotional point of view. What Teleskop has done for me is that it has made it easy for me to do what I should have been doing, which is to catalog the large items to start with. It was a very easy process, and it has the most important fields that one needs to have: price, the name, the value, something special about the book. That's very important. A note to myself: I bought this here, I bought it from Harry. The short answer is that it makes it easy for me, which makes me do it. Those are the two things. It makes me do it because it's easy to do.